The views and opinions presented by the host, guests, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
Is a paid political ad. The candidate dictates the format of the show. The candidate may have provided all or some of the questions to WMBS and the host. Each candidate may or may not take phone calls. WMBS and the host do not endorse any political candidate on air during a paid political ad.
You're listening to What's on Your Mind right here on WMBS Uniontown. This is Mark Grayful in the studio with me today. Well, before we get to that, we are being brought to you in part also by Gabler's Drug, The Laundromat, Rock Bottom Motors, Chestnut Ridge Counseling, Attorney Doug Schultes, Fair Chance Dental Arts, Laurel Ridge Realty, the Uniontown Hospital, and the gentleman that is sitting across from me, Commissioner Al Ambrosini. Al, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Mark. How about you?
Good, good. Al, you're in today. It's a paid political program, as everyone knows, and the season is upon us. So why don't you give us a little bit of bio about Al Ambrosini and why you're here? And then we'll go into your topics. And I will say this before we go anywhere. We are not taking calls as of yet. We're going to see how the time dictates. I'll announce when we're taking calls. It's all you, Al.
Okay, thank you, Mark. As you know, I am currently a sitting commissioner. This is my first term as a commissioner. I'm retired from Allegheny Power, which I spent a 30-year career with, and retired several years ago, and decided to do some public service work. And obviously 4 years ago, I decided to run for the commissioner's office, and was successful. And the reason why I ran, and we'll get into this in a little more detail later, because it's the economic development area that I really wanted to focus on, and in Fayette County, because we do have very much in the way of opportunities here that we absolutely need to take advantage of. But so that was really the main reason I decided to go into public service. We have a lot of good people in this county. They deserve a better life, and with developing the county, bringing in more economic development, and bringing in some prosperity. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that really means later, but that will help people make better lives for themselves and their families. We have a pretty high unemployment rate. Our poverty rate, the latest numbers on that was 19.6% here in Fayette County, poverty rate.
Right.
And that's pretty brutal. And so there's a lot of things we can do to improve these statistics, including the violent crime rate. We have the second highest violent crime rate in the state of Pennsylvania, only to be beat out by Philadelphia County.
Philadelphia County is a lot bigger than Fayette County, too.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting about that is Philadelphia County is more of a suburban or a city area.
It's more of an urban area.
Urban, yeah, where it's the population is much higher, obviously, than Fayette County. So for us to have the second highest violent crime rate in the state and be a rural county is a little bit
disheartening.
Disheartening is one word, yes. And
just remember, we're a family show.
Yeah, that's right.
It's middle of the afternoon now.
And so, yeah, those are some of the things we're going to talk about. But I just want to let people know that I am planning to run for re-election. And in fact, I filed my paperwork today before the show here, and so I'll be on the ballot for the primary election, which will be May 19th this year, Tuesday, May 19th.
And for those folks who don't know, you're a Democrat, and you'll be
Yes.
on the Democratic ticket because the county commissioner seat is only a Democrat or Republican in the primary can run. And we vote for 2 of each party, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the vote, you're right. In the primary, the voters will have the opportunity to vote for 2 party candidates to go on to the general election. So there'll be 2 candidates in each party. Well, assuming that there could be independents, but there'll be 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and those 4 people will be vying for the 3 county commissioner seats.
4 people, and possibly more, because if someone files as an independent and runs as an independent, they don't have to run until the fall.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
And in fact, it's not even limited to independents. There's other various parties that are listed.
Any other party other than the 2 main the parties.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go off your script for just 1 second.
Okay.
You've been in office now for 3 years. You stepped out of the private sector. You moved into the public sector. What? And you're grinning at me like, why are you going to ask this question? 'Cause you know where I'm going with this. What have you learned that what rose-colored glasses did you finally take off? Because I know when you're running, you're thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this done, and this is all going to work perfect.
Yeah.
What really happened? What? Tell me your experience now. I think that's the way I want to go.
Okay. Well, the best way I can explain this is, I have to admit, I was very fortunate during my career with Allegheny Power. Excuse me. I had the opportunity to work with a lot of very professional folks there. Engineers, accountants, professional management. Of course, we had our internal legal staff, great people to work with. And so, we were all focused on doing what was the best thing for the, for our customers, which are the electric customers. Now, I worked in the power generation division, and so I was, I did a lot of project management work, which was actually what I thought was going to be great for me to come from, a project management area and come into the commissioner's office. You have 3 commissioners, and I figured, well, this is great. This is going to be a smooth transition for me, because in project management, you always put together a team of people, the right people to accomplish the goals and objectives of whatever project you're working on. And so, it's kind of easy when you're looking at, well, what do we need to do for the county? Our mandate is to improve the safety and well-being of every individual in the county. And so I figure, well, we can do that. We just have to work together.
Right.
And the major difference of working in the private sector is, you select your goals and objectives based on what's good for the customers and the stockholders, and then you work toward that in a team effort. In the
Sorry.
in the I know this, but I mean, I'll just tell you what I've found.
Right.
Unfortunately, what's best for the citizens of Fayette County doesn't seem to match up with what some of the elected officials' goals are. In some cases, and I'll be flat out honest with you, some of the career politicians tend to make decisions based on them keeping their jobs, and so they're not really interested in saving taxpayers' dollars, or they're not interested in improving the county or the prosperity for the people of this county simply because they might rub somebody the wrong way, and so they try to appease everybody, and as a result, not much gets done. And that's the biggest problem that I've seen, and I'm hoping that the voters out there can help correct that this year, because we absolutely, and I'm just gonna go from that, answering that question, right into.
Well, and I was actually going to ask that next part of the question, which is, you mentioned economic development. Why is economic development so important to Fayette County? And I think you already started that answer.
And I started that.
Yeah.
Economic development is really the key process that we can encourage and accomplish, that creates more private sector jobs. We need to bring in investment into Fayette County, but the key is to create jobs. There's no question that the private sector jobs, and we need to be smart enough to know what type of jobs to focus on to bring in here.
Well, what jobs fit into the community and into our workforce?
Well, that's one way to say that, but we're actually pretty fortunate because our workforce investment people, our educational institutions, they understand that what they have to do is they have to educate our young people to fit the jobs that are available, and instead of just teaching them some a job, and then they have to leave the county to go look for that particular line of work.
Right.
So that's there's, and I think I might have said this even on this show before. We already solved all the easy problems in Fayette County. There's no more easy problems to solve. Every problem is now complex. So you have to come at these problems in a lot of different angles to make solving these problems a success. And so I'm very fortunate that I have an engineering background, and when I received my education, that's what they taught us. They taught us how to solve problems, and complicated problems.
Right.
So, and we do have a lot of complicated problems in Fayette County. Now, sort of kind of rolling back into the economic development, we do need a lot of jobs. We need various types of jobs. Not one job fits all. So, and so we have to develop a very diverse job market in Fayette County. And we have great opportunities. Everybody thinks, well, the gas industry moving in, it's going to create jobs, and it does create some jobs, and they're very good paying jobs, by the way. But that in itself doesn't fit the diversification model. It doesn't, in the gas industry, it's going to fluctuate up and down, and we don't want Fayette County we don't want our economy to live and die by the fluctuation of the gas industry. We need to do more things than that. And some of the other things that we can do since we do have the gas industry, and it's going to be around for a long time. We have the Marcellus Shale that's is going to be here for a while, and then of course you have the Utica seam under that's many times
it's even
bigger
larger than the Marcellus Shale, right?
Volume-wise. So we're going to be able to have a lot of abundant, low-cost energy for probably the next 50 to 75 years. And I don't know about you, Mark, but that's probably going to pretty much be to the top of my lifespan.
I'm going to say I'm right there with you.
Okay.
But the thing you're saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, is what you're basically saying.
Yeah,
because the gas and oil industry is great, but there's not, and I don't know the number, but whatever, if we have 100,000 people unemployed in Fayette County, there's not 100,000 jobs in the gas industry.
Right.
So we have to make sure that we have more other fields that also have people can go get jobs in. And that's as simple as retail, and that's as high as the hospitals. And I'm using two various differences, but and those are just two samples, correct?
Yeah, and there's a lot of other areas that we need to do. And, and I'm going to talk a little bit about, first of all, any good businessman knows that you don't focus on one product.
Right.
You always try to leverage one off of another for efficiency, first of all, and to again be diverse. Now, the gas industry, it's going to be there. Whether we use it or not, it's going to be there for our foreseeable future. So, in order to bring real prosperity into Fayette County, what we need to do is we need to bring in manufacturing, various types of manufacturing that uses a lot of abundant and, in this case now, low-cost energy. So we can bring in things like, specialty steel mills. Actually, I'm currently talking to an individual that is considering bringing a pipe rolling mill into Fayette County. And again, that's great. We have river transportation. We have a great rail system. We have good highway systems. We have low-cost property. We have everything that you really need to turn any industry, to attract any industry into Fayette County. We need to, in order to do that, well, let me talk about some of the other industries before I go into how we attract people here. We have, we have great schools here, and so, and our kids that are going through school and through different types of training programs and college, we need to have a wide range of jobs for them to fill right here in Fayette County. A lot of, again, I talked about this before also, we have a lot of industry, a lot of companies, I should say, are wanting to start to migrate away from the downtown urban areas because it's very expensive. It's very expensive for their employees to go to work every day. And so there's sort of a little bit of a migration that's just starting for them companies to come out into areas like Fayette County and build office complexes here. So they're closer to recreation. They're closer to all the, the kind of the benefits and perks that Fayette County has to offer. Right. We have some remarkable recreational items here. For example, we have the Youghiogheny River, which is world-class whitewater rafting. Mm-hmm. We have 23.5 miles of the Great Allegheny Passage that goes right through Fayette County that now is connected clear from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. And I've been talking to some tour companies now. What they're doing is they're starting tours, right? Bike tours. So they'll put together these packages where they'll carry your luggage from one hotel to the next, and all you do is bike between the various destinations.
Point A to point B, yeah. Then your stuff's there. You go, you stay at the hotel, then you move to the next one the next day.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
When we come back, I do want to ask you something because you talked about economic development. My question is going to be, so I'm going to give you time to think about this. Why is it important for a county commissioner to be involved in economic development? So think about that one. We'll come back right after this. It's only going to be a short commercial, folks, so hang in there. More with Commissioner Ambrosini after we come back from this break. We are being brought to you in part by Gabler's Drug, The Laundromat, Rock Bottom Motors, Chestnut Ridge Counseling, Attorney Doug Schultes, Fairchance Dental Arts, Laurel Ridge Realty, the Uniontown Hospital, and these fine folks. Gabler's Drug, your family pharmacy in Uniontown and Carmichael's, wants to know, what are you paying? Check out Gabler's Corner ads 6 days a week in the Herald Standard for their everyday low prices and specials, too. Why not transfer your prescription to Gabler's and enjoy close-to-the-door parking, free prescription delivery, or use their convenient drive-thru to pick that prescription up? Gabler's does accept UPMC, Express, Medco, and Highmark prescription plans. Gabler's offers the convenience of one-stop shopping for health and beauty aid needs, cold and allergy remedies, Nature Bounty products, many of which are buy one, get one free, and all at everyday low prices. Stop in Gabler's for St. Patrick's Day and Easter cards. Always discounted 20%. Spring and Easter decor. And Pirate Baseball is just a few weeks away. Check out Gabler's selection of team logo merchandise. Gabler's Drug in Uniontown and Carmichael is open 7 days a week with convenient hours in both locations. Gabler's Drug, everything you want in a drugstore. You're listening to What's on Your Mind right here on WMBS Uniontown. In the studio with me is Commissioner Al Ambrosini. He is announced today, well, we already knew that, but he announced today formally that he is running, he announced here on WMBS, I should say, that he is running for commissioner for a second term. The primary is May 18th. 19th. So if you haven't signed Commissioner Ambrosini's petition and you want to, just give him a call and he'll come out and get you to sign it. Although he's turned them in, it's always good to have extras.
Yeah, I still have a bunch of petitions out there, so you know it's always nice to be able to have enough where you don't have to worry about being challenged, as I've been told.
You know, Al, we were talking about what your experience so far with being a commissioner. And then you mentioned a little bit about economic development, so I asked you the question about economic development, but I think I should have stepped back and asked you the question I asked right before the break is, why is it so important for county commissioners to be involved in economic development? And explain to me why.
Well, I can give you a whole bunch of reasons, and I'll start by saying, again, really the mandate of a county commissioner is to provide, as I mentioned before, to improve, not to keep the same or come close to, but improve the safety, well-being, and prosperity of every citizen in this county. And the way to do that is to be a big part of the process of economic development, because the county commissioners do have some tools available to us to help attract some economic development in the county. And you know, a lot of these tools were legislated by the state government, so we have these things available to us to go out and talk to businesses, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm just saying we need to bring business in. We also need to help our existing businesses grow and prosper within Fayette County. And, you know, one of the businesses, and I'll just give you an example. In about 6 weeks ago, I attended a discussion with Boeing Aircraft. And they're a company that's in the Smithfield Industrial Park. And they have, about 100 or so employees there. And they're doing very well. They're doing some real important things, some military contracts. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I'll put people to sleep out there. But they create jobs, and they pay a very good wage. They have health care benefits for their people and also pension plans. And in addition to that, most of the jobs they have there is, our kids can come right out of high school and start working there. Right. They have, and the bulk of the jobs are, kind of manual jobs, but technical jobs.
Technical manufacturing is what they're doing.
Exactly. And so, but in addition to, the benefits that I already mentioned, if you're somebody that's 20 years old working there and you decide that you want to, well, it doesn't really matter what your age is. I shouldn't limit that. If you're 50 years old and you want to take some college courses and work toward a degree, they'll help pay for that. And so, those, we had those type of benefits at Allegheny Power, and a lot of our employees took advantage of that and have ended up with very, very nice careers.
That's one of the tools an employer uses to attract quality employees. Well, because you mentioned the word tools, and I'm trying to tie it into that. What types of tools can the commissioners use to bring jobs?
Well, some of the tools that we can use is, for example, there's a local program that was legislated by the state, but the local municipalities and the county has the ability to offer what's called ALERTA. Now, it's a local economic revitalization tax assistance program. So it's basically in the 3 taxing bodies, not only the county but the school district and whatever the municipality can offer a temporary tax break. So when somebody comes in and they want to expend a lot of capital dollars to build a company or a factory or buildings, it's a little bit of an encouragement for them to come.
Right.
Now, I have to tell you, everybody in the state has these tools, because it was legislated by the state.
And other states have similar tools too.
Yeah, but we can compete on that basis, but we have even better things to. We have our redevelopment authorities. We have our FAPEN Economic Development Council. We have the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance. We have a lot of cooperation between other agencies that we can all work with, and I have to tell you, Mark, that's the key. The key is teamwork. Because if we all work together, we can leverage the efforts, the influences of our various offices to help bring a client in. Like, for example, I've talked on several occasions to the governor's office. The governor has a economic development agency that he makes available, to us if we need to get a little further reach. And of course, we can talk to our state legislators and senators. We can talk to our federal senators and representatives. All these people, like, for example, I've had several meetings with United States Congressman Bill Schuster. Now Congressman Schuster is the chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in the House, in the U.S. House. Very influential, very powerful position. And when you can sit down and talk to him, when a county commissioner like me can sit down and talk to Congressman Schuster and talk to him about individual projects like sewage projects and
bridge projects,
the airport projects, all these different things. That helps us do what we can for the people of this county, because everything leads to creating more jobs, more good-paying jobs. In fact, I mentioned I was at Boeing about 6 weeks ago. I wasn't there by myself. I was there with State Representative Pam Snyder. I was there with State Representative Tim Mahoney. I was there with our new State Representative Ryan Warner, and our new State Senator Pat Stefano. And so, that's the type of teamwork and working together. And it doesn't even matter party lines. When you're trying to do something for your county, it's the people that you're working for, not any political party.
I think it goes back to what people always say in business is, what's my return on investment? And that's what you're looking at. What is the return on the investment? The investment is the taxpayers paying taxes every day. And the return on the investment is to bring a better quality. And you said this earlier on. bring a better quality of life and better quality of work to the community. And that's how and you said the word prosperity in the sentence way early, so I'm going to get back to the prosperity, and I want to talk about that. How can economic development bring prosperity back to the local residents of Fayette County?
When we do bring industry, manufacturing, let's just talk about manufacturing. I'll go back and use an example of a company that was very important to Fayette County at one time that probably nobody really recognizes that except maybe the people who worked for that company. But as people know, one time we had a company in South Connersville called Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation. And that plant was here for many years. In fact, and I'm not a youngster, but when I was going to college, I worked there in the summertime to make money so I could go to college.
Right.
And they had, I think at their peak, about 23 or 2,500 people, a lot of people. But that was, again, one of those companies that they paid a fair wage, they had health care benefits, and a pension plan. And a lot of people probably are retired from Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation that still live in Fayette County. But those are the people, they could afford to own their own homes, they could afford to send their kids to school, to college, they could afford to buy a new car once in a while. Those are, and when I talk about prosperity, I'm going to try to couch it in some simple terms. We had a company that made a lot of glass products. Now, we didn't use those glass products, all of them, in Fayette County.
Right.
The bulk of that, went out to Heinz, to Rolling Rock was some of the big clients at that time. So what did you have in return for making those glass bottles and sending them outside the county? You had a big influx of payroll money, millions of dollars a month coming into Fayette County. And the people who worked there used that money to live, to play, they used it to invest, buy their houses, buy cars, go to local restaurants, live a pretty comfortable life.
Right.
And so that's what we need to get back to. We need some manufacturing, but we also need the office complexes. So, if our kids go to college, want a white collar job, there's positions for them. We need to.
Well, but there's also those white-collar jobs right in the manufacturing. I mean, you spoke of Boeing. I'm sure that Boeing has office jobs there, too.
Oh, yeah. They have technical jobs. They have office jobs. They have engineering jobs. Any manufacturing company will have that range of different positions from the physical workers to management, supervision and management, and office-type workers.
And what I like what you're saying is you're not looking just, okay, I'm going to go overseas and I'm going to find all these new companies to come to Fayette County. You're actually talking about helping local companies, too. The companies that are here. Boeing is already here. You're there talking to them. I believe they're going to open up more work here real soon.
Yeah, what we talked about, and I'll just give you kind of a broad brush of some of the things we discussed. They actually have enough property at the Smithfield Industrial Park that they already own to build another building, and that building will pretty much triple the number of employees that they currently have there, and again, a lot of what they do is make products for aircraft and the military that will bring in a larger influx of payroll dollars into Fayette County, and then those dollars tend to help other local businesses, for home improvements and everything that a normal person spends on their day-to-day living.
Well, something that also helps is when you get Boeing to come in and commit to more jobs, then their suppliers need to start sending more product to them, to more supplies to them. So their suppliers may look at Fayette County and say, wait a minute, we're sending so much to Fayette County, let's open a plant here because then we don't have to pay the shipping costs.
Yeah, and that's
that's a great snowball effect.
Yeah, and that's the leveraging aspect that I talked about earlier. You know, if a company decided that, you know, instead of bringing say a component in from someplace else, why not make that too here? And then we could find out ways. And I talked to Boeing about this. If we do, or when we do, and let me put it that way, when we do extend a runway at Conestoga Airport, they can fly in components or subcomponents on a cargo plane instead of trucking them in or having them made someplace else. So these are all things that, again, as I mentioned, these to improve, to create prosperity, to solve our problems, they're very complex, and there's a lot of different aspects to every single one. So we have to be smart enough to make sure we understand that and we respond to that, and we help these private industries with networking, with not only with other elected officials, but with other companies, because we, and a lot of these companies, want help from the elected officials to help them recognize where they can benefit from contacts. And it could be as simple as just contacts, just networking with somebody.
Give me your Rolodex.
Yeah.
Or now your cell phone. But, something that you mentioned, a couple shows you were on a couple months ago with Dr. Susan Sickle, and we were talking, and I'm bringing this up, it just hit me, because, we're talking a lot about industry and production, but there's also other industries in Fayette County, the farm industry, the cattle industry. So there's also opportunities there for economic growth, correct?
Yeah, one of the things, and again, I'll talk about the leveraging. We have some great industries already here. I mean, our number one industry in Fayette County is still agriculture. Mm-hmm. Our number two industry now is tourism. But let's just stick with agriculture for a second. We have a lot of farmers. We have a lot of cattlemen in Fayette County, obviously, since that's our biggest industry. But we do not have a food processing plant in Fayette County. We have to ship our cattle outside to get processed, outside of the county to get processed. So let's look at, doing what it takes to get, food processing plants right here in Fayette County. We have the water. We're very fortunate that we have a good source of clean water, in Fayette County from the Youghiogheny River. Food processing plants would be a great addition and help the farmers reduce transportation, and probably
reduce cost,
and probably boost the need for their products, because we have a food processing facility right here in Fayette County. Same way with the cattlemen. We need to process cattle right here, and that will encourage the local cattlemen to increase their product, the quantity of their products, if they can process it right here and save on transportation costs.
Well, you mentioned agriculture is number one. You said number two is tourism. And I know people think, well, come on, how can that boost the economy? So I'm going to ask that question. How does tourism boost the economy? And how can the commissioners help with that? And you got 4 minutes to answer that question.
Okay. Well, first of all, It's just like building a manufacturing plant. If you can bring an influx of money into the county, for our local people to spend here, that's what you do in the manufacturing end of it. On the tourism side, if we could bring tourists to come here to Fayette County and spend money and partake in our, we have great heritage, great history here in Fayette County. We have a 5-star resort up on the hill. We have a number of new hotels that are either built or being built right now. So those are all big advantages for our local families and people to prosper because we need to provide services to these tourists that come in, and they're going to spend money. So
when they spend money, the county makes money.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We have one way we do that is we have a hotel tax, and that those revenues that come in from that helps us put that back in to advertising. We put it back into helping our tourists, our tourism people to help promote tourism,
and you also put it into the communities too. If the city of Brownsville wants to get a tourism grant to promote Brownsville as a event, to come to an event, they can apply for that money to get that money. Something that the smaller communities wouldn't be able to do if they had to do this on their own, correct?
Yeah, that is I have to admit, that is very helpful to a lot of smaller agencies or people that, especially the 501c3s that are doing some things to try to promote tourism in their areas. The Brownsville has a train in museum, and so they applied for a grant to help them with their train museum. There's a lot of train buffs all over the world,
right?
And they love to come to these museums to see what has transpired. I mean, Fayette County has a great history of how the railroads were developed here, and if we can attract tourism to partake in those museums, and it's just gonna. So we have a lot of different. Again, that's that diversity part. We have a lot of different things for tourists to come here to partake in and spend money.
Well, we have about a minute left. So do you want to wrap things up by telling everybody a little bit more about yourself, or how do you want to wrap things up? Because we hit on all the topics that you gave me. But the thing is, I want to remind everybody that May 19th is the primary. You're more than welcome to vote for Commissioner Ambrosini. I think you're going to ask for that vote, correct?
Yeah.
More than welcome to it.
So I certainly would appreciate the opportunity to work for the citizens of the county and to plan and work toward doing a lot more of what I started out to do, and provide more prosperity and to bring the businesses that we need, not only to help with the prosperity for more and better jobs, but also we can provide businesses to help support and benefit our existing businesses right here.
Services, a commitment made by Abby's founding administrator and owner, Beverly Fazio. My dear mother never forgot that commitment we made in 1984, and I'll honor that commitment today and in the coming decades. When you or your loved one needs home health care, call Abby Healthcare, the home health care provider who's committed to you. For more information, call 724-439-2229. Abby Healthcare cares for you.
How much money do you think you'll spend during your lifetime? Think about it. There's food and clothing, mortgage or rent, the fortune you'll spend on the kids, there's eating out, going to the movies, don't forget the popcorn. There are things you want to buy and things you have to buy. Things for the house and, of course, taxes. In the end, it all adds up to a lot of money. Now, with all of that, Donegal Insurance Group asks, why would you spend more than you have to on auto insurance? You see, Donegal's rates routinely beat the national companies, those fast-talking 1-800-insurance guys and the internet companies. So wouldn't you rather spend more of your money on you instead of car insurance? After all, life's expensive enough. Donegal, there when it matters most.
To see how you can save money on your auto and homeowners insurance, call the Sprouse Insurance Group at 724-437-9812. As an independent insurance agency, the Sprouse Insurance Group will help you get the best possible coverage to fit your insurance needs. The Sprouse Insurance